A lot of women won't agree with me when I say that my motto is to never say no. Like, so you're okay with not wanting to have sex, but you're not engaging in the intimacy that God has designed for us. And that's the part that I'm like, God designed it for you. How much caffeine are you consuming? You know, you think that it's cool that you're only sleeping 5 hours? That's going to catch up with you. And that's going to shut your hormones down, shut you down, it's going to impact your relationships. And all of us, we're trying to do so much. Like,
hey family, welcome to another episode of the Lovelands with your girl Coach Kaz. Hey girl, hey. Now today I have a sis from another miss, Dr. Yana Blaise. She specializes, listen to this, integrative medicine specialist focused on hormone replacement therapy. Woo! Now I know that is a whole mouthful, but all to say is that as women and men, we really don't get taught about hormones coming up and how they affect our love lives, our sex lives, our lives overall. So we're going to get all the way into it starting now. What's up, Dr. Yana?
hey, Cass. Hey, Coach Cass.
Girl, you look good.
Thank you.
Don't back that thing up. Hold on. So I'd like to start with, what is the problem that you see? And I feel like you see majority women. I don't know if you also see men, but what is the problem that you see with people when it comes to knowing about our hormones? Like, how is that affecting us? What's the problem?
Well, I think just starting with the fact that most people, when they think about medicine, well, they think about sickness or being treated for like a comorbidity or a disease. So they say, oh, let me go get my labs done. But they don't really think, let me see what's happening with me as far as like my sexual hormones, you know? So most people will check their thyroid, but they're not looking at their estrogen, progesterone, their testosterone. And even I find that even men, they think more about their testosterone, but they're not thinking about the other hormones that affect them, right? And so we're such complex individuals, and it's very important that we learn more about ourselves. And I mean, as we go along and as we age, our body changes, you know? And so I think the problem is really just spreading that awareness, that these are things that we need to look into that changes the quality of our lives.
So question, like, is this a part of the regular labs when you go to the primary? Are these things in there, or do we have to ask for it? Do we have to go somewhere special to do this type of work?
So typically people will go to their primary care provider.
Okay.
And they'll do CBC, CMP, looking at kidney, liver function. But as far as hormones, the primary care doctors typically will check your thyroid to see like how you're doing in your routine labs. They're not looking at your hormones unless you kind of put a special request in there and say, hey, you know, talking about maybe your libido, or maybe you're having menstrual cycle changes. And then even still, you'll find that some doctors are not really checking for those labs.
I am very sure that I do not know anything about my testosterone or my estrogen levels at all. So have you seen any correlation maybe with driven women that have more testosterone? Like, is that a thing? Like,
so I think that people have it in their mind that professional or driven women or CEOs have high testosterone levels, and that really is not true at all.
It's not true.
No. That's not really what's happening. But usually women that are successful are not sleeping a lot. They're taking in a lot of caffeine, have high carbohydrate diets, and what you'll find is typically imbalances with the estrogen and their progesterone levels, more so than you'll see with testosterone, unless they have some other type of hormone disorder.
Oh, wow. So how do you know if you have a problem? Like, how does this show up in our day-to-day lives? That it's like, you know what? I think I should go check this out.
Well, we can talk about like the women that present right into practice. They may come in and say, hey, you know, I want to, you know, our women, professional, all women really like want to lose weight and look really good physically.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that. And then I'll say, okay, well, are you married? Like, are you in a relationship? And, you know, like, how's your sex life? And it's kind of like a little bit still like this taboo, although we're so exposed to it, like through social media and everything. And so that woman might say, well, I just don't really have a desire.
Oh.
We're intimate like one time a week.
Yeah.
We have kids. I'm a whole businesswoman, or I'm a stay-at-home mom, or I'm a single woman. I really don't even really have the desire.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, let's talk about that.
Mm.
And they're like, well, there's really nothing to talk about. And I'm like, so you're okay with being okay with not wanting to be intimate, like not wanting to have sex, okay?
Yeah.
Like, and don't get me wrong, like, yeah, I'm a Christian, I go to church and all that, and I have a great relationship with the Lord, but he designed us to be like a special way, and I think that we are sexual beings.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yes.
we are. Whether single, whether married, and sometimes we're not really exploring our sexuality, and it may not be that woman's fault.
Wow.
She doesn't know what is happening and transpiring with her hormonally, and being able to identify that there's some changes going on in my body. Why I really just don't even have the motivation for it.
Wow. So it's not that we're prudes out here in these streets. It could just be our hormones.
Yes. Yes.
So now when we talk about fixing hormones, like what
does that look like?
Yeah, what does that look like?
So here's the other thing, right? What I see with a lot of patients is that they may go to, a primary care doctor or a conventional OBGYN or gynecologist more so, and do the blood work, and they'll say, oh, well, your labs kind of look normal. And a lot of times when you do the blood work, it doesn't necessarily reflect how or what's going on with you hormonally, because you're cycling, you're changing, and things are moving very rapidly. And so a lot of it is really based off of like your symptoms as well. So in dealing with the hormones, we also not only just check by the blood, we do urinary testing as well.
Huh. Is it over time?
Yes, there's tests that we'll do, at different times of, let's say, the menstrual cycle, to see what exactly is happening with the estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone levels. And there's different ways there's different treatment modalities. One that's my favorite is we insert a pellet. We do a small incision and we insert a little pellet underneath the skin. Pellet. And it releases the hormones over time.
Oh.
So that you don't have to apply it every day.
So how often do you have to change out this pellet?
Usually it's about every 3 months.
Every 3 months. Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm scared of slicing and dicing. So it's like a little pellet.
Very small.
Very small. Very small.
Yeah. And I had one of my patients who is also a friend that was going through some hormonal changes. And I think that some people think that these changes happen like when you're 40 or 50.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of women going through changes in their early 30s.
Wow.
And there's women with imbalances in their late 20s, and they just don't have the education. And so they're kind of suffering.
So these hormonal imbalances, can they lead to like mental imbalances as well?
Oh, you'll be crazy.
Ah.
You'll be crazy. Like, and the thing is, it impacts your relationships so much because you can spaz out like this in a second.
Girl.
You're aggravated. You're in Rome and you're like, or you're, in Spain and you're in the most beautiful places and you're just irritated. You're irritable. You feel sadness. You just, why don't I feel joy? Like, why can't I feel happy right now? And patients don't know, and they'll just be like, well, I don't want to try therapy. I don't want to use drugs. I don't want to do these things. But there's also things that you could do preventatively to also keep them balanced as well. But we just don't know. We don't know. And so we suffer.
Girl,
and our men
excited.
suffer, and men suffer.
Men suffer.
And so let's talk about the men.
Uh-huh.
So men now are having infertility issues in their 20s.
20s.
We're finding low testosterone levels in the guys. And so they're needing to have testosterone replacement therapy. It's affecting infertility. So here women are like, it's all me. And they're not getting their men checked out. Their sex drives are changing. They're becoming a little bit more, their women hormones or the estrogen is going up, and they're becoming more irritable and woman-like.
Yeah. What's up with that?
And their masculinity is changing.
Yeah.
And so they need therapy as well.
So one of the things that we talked about before today is that when men gain weight, what happens?
So what men men in the practice or a practice, they'll begin to develop fat in the abdominal area, like places where they typically don't gain weight. And, men will be like, oh, it's just like 5 pounds. But, every 5 to 10 years, you add an additional 5 to 10 pounds to your body. And it becomes more difficult for men to lose that. And you do see that when the testosterone levels are dropping. Men don't even know that drinking alcohol decreases their testosterone levels.
Really?
Or that when you work out, your testosterone levels increase. When you lose weight, your T levels, because T levels, they increase. And so you'll see that men become a little bit more hypersexual when, you're helping them figure out what are those things that affect their sex drives.
So a fit man more than likely is doing a little bit better than a man with an abdominal large mass.
It could be. It could
Yes.
be. But there are also toxins that are now affecting us as both women and men. Our toxin load, the things that we put on our skin, the pollution that we're exposed to, whether we're eating meat with hormones, our lifestyles, it's affecting our hormonal levels.
Yeah.
So it's not as straightforward as we think, and I think that's where testing and being evaluated by a hormone specialist is important,
Right.
to understand what's going on. And even if sometimes, like in, say, some of our professional men, they have a lot of fatigue. They don't understand that this is happening. They just believe that it's stress.
Yeah.
Or I've got 2 businesses that I'm running. I have a wife. I have kids that are under the age of 10, and they're just really unaware that they have a deficiency.
Wow. So that's one thing, right? I find that many women get turned off from sex because they're tired, right? Just tired. I got to run these kids to practice, to school. What's daddy doing? I don't know. And it's just like there's so many things that the last thing you want to do is to have somebody go like this in your back at midnight, right? Like the tap or the push or the prod or the...
I want some.
Right, exactly. Didn't even say hello today, so... Is it hormones or is it relationship or is it both? What you saying, Dr. Yana?
So I think, it's definitely multifaceted.
Okay.
But for the wanted woman, the woman that we want to be, whether we're single or looking or we're married, like we need to be embracing our sexuality in this journey. Like it's not just about what we put on our skin or what it is that we're wearing, because a lot of women now, everybody's getting their boobs done, they're getting their butt done, they're getting, and that's all good. Like trying to gain this self-confidence, but then you have all that and you don't want to have sex. So you're alluring, but you're not engaging in the intimacy that God has designed for us. And that's the part that I'm like, God designed it for you. And it's for you. Why do you want to feel like somebody's roommate? I don't. Why do we become comfortable with the idea of it? And I think it's something that we need to address like more as women, because we become more masculine. We're not embracing our femininity. And I think that sometimes we leave that up to men, and we need to take more control of that. Like, are you like finding something that makes you feel sexy? I'm not saying that you have to wear that out. You can put that on before you get into the tub. You can put on the music that you need to feel yourself, feel yourself, feel sexy for yourself. And then that can translate over into the bedroom. Yeah. And I think that we just get to the point where life just takes over, and that's very real. Like life be lifing. And, but just in the same way that I have my coach Cass, you need to have the people in place that help you in the different areas of your life. Yeah. And so that you can be attentive to the different dynamics that, the different things that are impacting you.
So Dr. Yana, I feel like you are the sexiest person that I know, right? Like you embody sexy,
And I sing and everything too.
It's like a thing. So I feel like there's probably a daily practice that you have to embody your sexy. So if you were to explain that, because there are days where people wake up and they don't feel sexy, you know?
Yeah.
So what is it that you do in your daily or your weekly to help you get there?
So, well, quarterly, my hormones are checked.
Ah.
Definitely, life's lifing. And so I do have my own hormone specialist. His name's Dr. Everwine. He's also a business partner of mine, and he's great with men's sexual health. And so my hormones are checked. I have someone that, I speak to him and a part of his team as well to help manage me, because I think I can manage myself, but I cannot. My clothes, I go through my closet and I say, like, I don't wear this. This doesn't make me feel good. Like, it's out.
Yeah.
And I think I need this piece because this is going to do this for me. Or like, I'm going to show up with the kids, but I don't want to always feel like a soccer mom. You know what I mean? So how do I show up? Like what Andy said, show up for your life. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Literally, I have the little, like, I show up. Like, how do I want to show up today? And of course, it's not going to be all the time.
Yeah.
But as far as my sexuality, I mean, I buy things that are sexy to wear in the house, not even necessarily.
So what you wearing in your house is you wearing like lingerie, just walking through the house with the kids and feeding them macaroni with lingerie on and maid outfits?
I don't. I wait till they're asleep. I wait till they're asleep. I take advantage of the vacations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I go hard when it comes to like you prep for your vacation.
Oh snap! There's a prep.
What are you gonna wear tonight? What are you gonna wear tomorrow night?
There's a nighttime prep. This is a behind closed door
like
prep.
when my girlfriends were like, I'm gonna go out of town. Okay, what are you putting together for the 3 days or the 4 days?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to see your hair wrapped.
No,
like, get your braids or get your style so that you can get that wet and just throw it and be sexy.
She said throw it. Come on.
Like because I'm a musician and an artist, right? I think it's all about creating.
Yeah. Right.
And so when you think about your marriage, you think about your relationship, or if you're a single woman and you're going somewhere, you have to have a vision for what you want to feel like.
Yeah.
And so sit and I think about what is it that I want to create in these different times and spaces for myself. Mm-hmm. How does Yana want to show up and feel today, or in the Bahamas, or in Rome, or whatever, you know what I mean? And so I think it's the really working with the mind, the manifestation of whatever it is that you think, you'll be and become. If you don't see yourself as sexy, you're not going to be sexy.
Ooh, I'm feeling sexy today. I'm
right.
just telling you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But then there was a lot of effort, right?
Well, intentionality.
Yeah. So you shave every day, Yana?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Let's be honest.
Right. Okay. No. God bless you.
No, I don't.
I was like,
I don't, but then I don't have to wear things all the time where my legs are. But I do make sure my eyebrows are.
Oh, the eyebrows are
on sleek, right? Do they still use that word?
I have no idea. But they look good.
Right. Like, those things. And I don't think you can be. There are some women that are fabulous all the time. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that I feel fabulous all the time or that I am fabulous all the time. But there are things that impact that and impact the way that I feel. And I pay attention to those things.
Ooh, and you pay attention. So when you have those down days, right, how do you push through them? Like, especially if your husband trying to have sex with you.
Let's talk about it.
Right?
Let's talk about it.
And you're not feeling fabulous. You're not feeling sexy. Like, what do you do, to essentially get in the mood? Or do you?
So I think a lot of women won't agree with me when I say that my motto is to never say no.
Ooh. Say that again!
Yeah.
What you said, Dr. Yana?
It's to never say no, but that doesn't mean when I'm in the middle of the night and you try to grab on my butt at 3:00 in the morning, you feel the elbow in your face that I was sleeping. I wasn't like fully aware and conscious. That's different, but if you take on and it was so crazy when I was younger, I met a woman that was training me, and this was something that she taught me, like, I never say no. And it kind of stuck with me into marriage because I'm like, well, the whole reason we got connected was so that I could be all of that for you. So let me not lose sight of that's kind of like my responsibility. And even though they don't always meet their end all the time, that's just one of the things that I'm like, well, this is just for me. I want to know that I've done that part. So what do I do? I just toot it back.
Toot it back.
And then I go back to sleep.
Oh my gosh, we had a Bible study group. We used to call it Toot the Boot Tuesdays, right? So
Sometimes
that's it.
Go ahead and get what you want. We'll stay open for the next 15 minutes. And give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up.
That's it.
That's it. Just give it up, girl. Give it up, girl.
Just give it up, girl. Oh,
but then, you can have those moments where you're maybe you're not fully engaged, but then you have to make sure that sometimes you're responsible for creating it. The men or your man or your husband, they don't always know. And it's okay that you guide that, because some women is like, a man needs to know.
Right.
But
you teach him.
Just make it happen, though, so that it happens in kind of like the way that you want it to happen. And I think that most men are open to us, saying what it is that we want, especially from a sexual standpoint.
Yeah.
But I think that as couples, as you're, going through relationships or you're in a marriage for 5, 10, 15 years, and you're recreating yourselves all the time in it. The underlying factor is that there are physiological things that are impacting you and your ability to be present in that way. Yeah. If I'm with my husband and we're with the kids and it's like, well, I want to stop by McDonald's. Well, Alex is open and, that's what you want to do. But I don't want to eat that food because it has artificial hormones in it. And that's going to impact me. So all of these little decisions, the soaps that I use, they have low toxic levels in it. The food that I choose to buy, what I'm eating, all of those things impact me. So when I'm dealing with a patient, I got to get the information, like how much caffeine are you consuming? You think that it's cool that you're only sleeping 5 hours? That's going to catch up with you. And that's going to shut your hormones down. It's going to shut you down. It's going to impact your relationships. And all of us, we're trying to do so much. Like, we want our kids to be a certain way. We want our career to be a certain way. We want to have a relationship with the Lord. We want to, our house has to be a certain, like all these things that we're trying to do and accomplish. But the truth is, we're not even putting ourselves first.
Yeah. So now I just felt like a weight just dropped on my head when you said no to the McDonald's, right? It's just so simple. And this kid only eats like chicken nuggets. So do you live on a farm? And
No.
What does your routine look like to really keep aligned with what you teach, right? In terms of trying to eat right, especially on the go with 3 kids and all the moving pieces. What does that look like practically for you?
For me, it's okay. I look at, let's say, a Costco's, wherever we're using, whether it's Aldi's, Costco, Publix, whatever. I always look at all of the food that they have available that the children like, that are non-GMO, that are low in sugar content, or make sure it doesn't have corn syrup in it. Whether it's a big difference when you decide to eat Ritz cracker that's full with corn syrup in it, and then you wonder
Ritz
why.
Ritz crackers is full of corn syrup? Oh.
It's like these little things. And then, they can go to my mom's house and my mom's like, yeah, I've got Ritz crackers. And I'm like, this is where it starts.
What does the Ritz crackers do to you, Dr. Yana? Can you tell me?
The corn syrup makes you addicted.
Oh,
and so instead of you eating 4, you eat 2 packs or a pack.
I've done that.
And you just sit and snack on it, not realizing that it's making you more hungry.
Yeah.
So it's that. It's like food, sleep, right? Nutrition, and then meditation. And that's kind of like, because some people are like, I don't really believe in God. I'm not a Christian, but there's other modalities. And I don't know if I read Jada's book, Worthy. I did. And I wasn't going to, but I wanted to just understand the perspective on what her experience was. And ayahuasca is a big thing that in the medical community, psychedelics, people are embracing now to get a relationship with God and for me, I'm just like, I'd rather pray
Yeah, seriously.
than to have a death experience to get to the light.
I actually know a sexologist that uses it in a contained environment to help couples get to another level. I'm like, that's
And they have
that's a lot.
shamans, and people
Yeah.
go to Brazil and they have these experiences that are life changing, and they come back as new people, you know. So there's so many different things that are like out there
Yeah, pray to
for
Jesus.
the mental health, you know. And mental health it's like a huge aspect. Like, what does a man do when his wife is depressed? You know, but he doesn't even know that her testosterone levels are plummeting. You know, and it's not even that. Oh, it's not that she's not into you. You know, it's
Right.
that she can't be into you.
Yeah.
You know, and we won't even talk about the thyroid. You know, it's the same thing. You know, people are fatigued. If you're so fatigued, how can you engage into any type of meaningful physical activity?
Yeah.
You know, so
My mom and my grandma it runs in my family, and I'm very grateful. Right now, my thyroid levels are normal, but I have a higher awareness just because they've suffered with it, had to get it burned out. But then now you're saying that, oh, that's why they're tired. I'm like, they be tired of men real quick. They get tired of everybody. I got some independent women in my family, so it might be the thyroid and the hormones, and not necessarily because they're Jamaican and independent.
and this is where integrative medicine, that long word, came in, because you don't have to get your thyroid removed. You don't have to be on thyroid medication for your life, the rest of your life. I mean, of course, it depends on what condition presents itself, but there are ways to reverse thyroid conditions
Wow.
that conventional medicine doesn't even really speak about. Because what do we want you to do? We want you to be on medicine for the rest of your life. We want you to remove your thyroid instead of dealing with the antibodies that are attacking your thyroid because you're stressed out. You just lost a family member. You're consuming 3 cups of caffeine a day. You have an imbalance. You stay in the club all night.
So
You're drinking 4 glasses of alcohol a night.
Oh, hallelujah. So, Dr. Yana, now, what would you say are the normal things that everyday person should be doing every day in terms of their nutrition? Is there any supplements that everyone should be taking? Is there anything like that you would say is necessary for a balanced life to at least start to get your hormones together as they seek you out as a hormone specialist? Anything?
So this is going to be so dependent on the patient. It's very personalized.
So it's
medicine.
not like everybody should take B12?
No.
No.
There are people that have vitamin D levels that are 23.
Is that good or bad?
That's bad. It's terrible.
Okay.
we want the vitamin D levels to be up at 85. It helps to prevent cancer, heart disease, obesity.
Wow.
Right? So a woman could be struggling with her weight and her vitamin D levels low because she's not one that really goes through the sun, or her body is not absorbing it well, or she has some type of GI conditions that's stopping her from absorbing. And so, no, I wouldn't put everyone on 50,000 units a week, but this woman, I may.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to know what's happening with your vitamins, what's happening with your hormones, because it's not like we put everybody on the same regimen.
Scale. Yeah.
No.
And who is that based on, right? Like middle America white lady that has nothing else to do?
Right.
Is that how that goes?
Right. So
Like
most labs that are conventional labs that are established, which are the only labs that insurance pays for, and I hope that the Illuminati doesn't take me out for putting the secrets out there. But I'm sorry, but the conventional labs that are done in healthcare, they're based off of averages. And what averages of people, what population of people, and what medication studies are based on what people, and then what about the integrity of the studies? Let's not even go there. And I'm not going to touch on the CDC and FDA. You're not coming for me. But yeah, so personalized medicine is very important. I think that that's where healthcare is going.
Wow. Okay, so there's so many ways. Okay, so how do you feel? I've seen this thing called the pre-nouveau, where you could put your whole body through a machine and it could then tell you if you have like 500 different diseases. Like, what is your thought on that new machine? Or maybe it's not new, maybe something that's always been done, but now they've remarketed it to be something new. What is your thoughts on that?
Silence.
Okay.
I still feel like when I stand behind something, that the research needs to be there, and I need to have my own experience with it, and I really can't speak to the legitimacy of it.
Okay.
I think we are really complex and very dynamic, and even when we're implementing something for you, that's going to change. There has to be follow-up. We need to talk about like how you feel. There's no way that you can just have all of the answers. I can run labs on you all day, and they could be great integrative medicine labs, but that's not enough. There's some things that you can share with me as a patient that is like, oh shoot, this is how she showed up in the morning. She's not, oh, she works this job. She works 12 hours in the middle of the night. I already know what's going on with you.
Yeah.
If I don't have that, if I don't have these
extra
pieces
context,
and this history and oh, you know, and then my headache, I get this little headache, or I attack my husband right after my cycle ends, and I feel like having sex here, but I don't feel like having sex there. Like all of these things matter. So AI and technology, there's still a lot of limitations in that.
Oh, that's good. Girl, you have me ready to book my appointment. Okay, I'm like, yeah, I do feel like sex sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, nah, homie. Let me work on this never say no. Yes,
and
Jesus.
I could say to the husband, like, look, you need to hit her up day 12 through 16.
Right. Those are the days.
Because day 4 through 7 after that cycle, or like 7 days before the cycle, what I want you to do is just hide. Or just bring her everything that she needs. Don't ask for anything.
So what's crazy is that now and again, Andy would be like, is your period coming? I'm like, no. And then it'll come like 2 days later. I'm like, damn, why do you know my cycle better than I do? But I guess I do act differently.
Oh, a
little bit more emotional.
I tell the husbands to carry the cycle app. Right? And they have the username and the login, so they know everything that's happening while it's happening in real time. Oh yeah. Let me check this app. Oh, her period's on. Okay, I'm not even gonna fight. There's no argument here. Not today. Not today. We just gonna walk away. I'm not getting any.
That's it.
Or wait a minute, she's ovulating. Hey, honey, let's go to dinner. How about?
Oh, I love that. So now one thing I meant to touch on was studies, and I feel like minority populations, Black people, don't necessarily like being a part of studies. So it's like we talk about the studies not being good, but then as a people, I feel like we don't trust the studies, nor do we want to be a part of them. So what do you have to say about that?
Like that's where you hear the birds chirp again. Like, who do I trust? Yeah. I'm not going to be a huge advocate for
people entering studies.
A lot of.
Not so much.
And which studies and where and who to trust. I think that changes. But I do really love institutions like Johns Hopkins. I think that they're wonderful.
Okay.
I think that Duke is good. I think there are great physicians at research hospitals that take a different approach to care. But it still kind of boils down to the word of mouth in that physician or nurse practitioner or whatever for you to really have more confidence. But yeah, I think that maybe we need to be creating our own organizations and obtaining that information in a safe way.
Oh, I'm here for it. Okay, Dr. Yana, so anything else you want to tell us around sexuality, just in case we haven't uncovered or unturned something? Anything coming up for you around sexuality, women, hormones, anything else?
I think you need to get to know yourself, and I think you need to be open with having these conversations with your partner and do it together. You know, test together, explore together. I really think there's so much for us to enjoy in it that we're not, and there's a misunderstanding when it comes to, because people think like if you're in a committed relationship or a marriage, like it's doomsday. And like it's really not. I think we just need to explore different and really support each other, in especially as women, to hold each other accountable for being more sexual.
Ooh, yes. So what would you say is the secret formula or the special number that you would encourage women, not once a week, but how often would you say?
I don't want to discredit any woman that's going through any type of treatment or therapy where it's not practical, right? There are some healthcare conditions that make it a lot harder. So I just want to acknowledge those women.
Okay,
yeah, disclaimer there. How many times? Okay, well, because I practice across the scope, right? Because I see women and men in nursing homes having sex. I have friends that tell me they don't have sex but every 3 months.
Okay,
or,
so we
or
don't
every 2 or every 1. Like, I think if I had to put a number on it, oh my God, it's hard. A minimum of 3.
3 times a week.
Yeah.
All right, we heard it here.
Can we
At
shoot
least,
for that?
Yes. We got goals out here, y'all. We got goals. At least 3 times a week. That's like every other day and off on Sunday, or maybe we on Sunday.
Try to get on the weekend.
Yeah, get it on
After
the
soccer or whatever. Maybe after the dinner after church if you do.
Yeah. Nap time. Gotta take a nap. Everybody take a nap. You take a nap.
It's not gonna always work. Like, you might have to set the clock.
Yeah.
Like, set an alarm. Nobody wants. They're like, I don't want to do that, but do that.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
You gotta slip that thing in.
Literally.
Buy the washer and dryer.
Oh, I love it. We gonna go to laundry. We gonna go to laundry. I love this, Dr. Yana. How can people find you on social media?
Well, you can go to Dr. Yana Blaise, but My Reset Weight Loss and Rejuvenation, that's also a company that I have, and also will be working in a new center called Mirage Implantation.
Yes.
Where we'll be doing cosmetics and a lot of women's health.
Okay, so Dr. Yana, I heard that you could sing, and I remember at my wedding, you had sang this song. Now, I don't remember if you know the words again to this song, but there was a song called Dangerously in Love. You think you could give us a little bit of that? No? Oh.
How dare you? Not a Beyonce song. What?
Okay.
I don't want the Beehive coming from
Not the Beehive, not the Beehive. Okay, so you got something else in your spirit that you feel like humming or singing for us before we go?
Tell me if you want me to. Give me all my time. I want to make it good for you. That's it.
Hey!
Doesn't that work together?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Ooh.
Yeah.
Now we out here just feeling real sexy. I hope this episode has helped you with your sex life, whether it's dusty or whether it's juicy. Everything in between, Dr. Yana has that help for you. So make sure to follow her on social media, Dr. Yana Blaise, and tune in to our next episode of The Love Lens. Keep loving, keep laughing, keep living. Make sure to subscribe.